Well, hi, and thanks for joining us on Stampissimo. Let me start by welcoming my guest, Lucy. It's great to have you here, Lucy.
Thank you for having me.
How are you?
I'm very well, thank you.
Excellent. Okay, well, Easter is just around the corner, and if you're anything like me, I love Easter, and that might have something to do with chocolate. Now, Lucy, you've bought some lovely Easter treats to show us today, so maybe you can tell us a little bit about what you're going to make.
I'm going to show you how to make this Easter treat pouch. It's got a little sachet of goodies that I've stamped on the bag that fit in there. I've made the flowers using the extra large oval punch, the grass and the leaves, and then it's very simply just tied up. So that's very easy to make. There's that one.
You've got some other things.
This is a little one that holds a little tiny egg, so it would be good for either table decoration at Easter or to give to somebody or for children to make.
Yeah, that's a great idea. For the little teacher gifts, yeah.
And that's made with the Petite Petals punch and the Itty Bitty punch.
That looks fabulous, and I love the colours. Very, very spring-like. So you're going to show us how to make it?
I am. So I'll start with making the treat bag. Okay. I've got a black piece of card here so we can see what we're doing. Got the white stays on ink, and I think I'll do the flower on this one as opposed to the Happy Easter. And I'm just going to stamp randomly all over. This is the Petite Petals. It's one of my favourite stamp sets at the moment, actually, because you've got the punch that matches it in the same punch that I've made the daffodils with. If you're running out of time or you suddenly remember that you've forgotten somebody, you could just make this bag and put the treats in with a bow and just hand it over as it is.
So does that need sort of time to dry?
It does a bit, yes, and we'll put that aside to dry, and then we'll put the treats in it a bit later. And this is cut at 5 centimetres. 5 centimetres is about 2 inches for those that work in Imperial. So I've cut my 5 centimetre strip.
Okay.
And then I'm going to score it at 13.5 centimetres.
Okay.
From each end. And then I'm using my favourite puncher at the moment. So lining it up to the edge and making sure that the scallop is central.
Yeah, I love that punch.
Oh, it's my favourite punch. It's so versatile. You can make cards and all sorts of things with it, and you don't have to just do something that fits in the channel. You can put paper in this way and punch it as well. I've seen some really clever things made with it. And sometimes it's easier to see the folds on one side rather than the other. So with this, I tend to fold it that way, then fold it back on itself, and you can see the crease. And you can take a bone folder and just make those creases firmer. And this,
it's taking shape very nicely, isn't it? Yeah.
And then what we need to do next is use the large oval punch to make the blooms. Perfect plum and daffodil delight cardstock, and then the leaves, this will be old olive. We need, for each bloom, we need 3 of the large ovals.
Such a lovely colour combination, Lucy, I must say.
So what's so lovely about the spring is you get all these bursts of colour after months of grey and brown and no green at all.
Now, tell me, Lucy, you've been crafting quite a while, so how did you get into crafting?
Oh, I've seemed to be crafting forever, really. My mum is very artistic, and we did all sorts of crafts when I was a kid. Anything from tie-dye to making things out of egg boxes, all sorts of things, really.
So you started young?
Yes. So, and then I've sort of not stopped from there. I've always really made my own cards. As an adult, I've done stained glass and crochet and all sorts of things. So
right, so you really do love all things creative.
I do. I love to receive handmade goods, and I like to make things as well.
Okay, so we've got our sort of crocus leaves.
So, yes, and then we need the Tombow glue. So for each one, we'll be making that sort of a shape. So I put a bit of Tombow glue on one and line it up. So I'm sort of working from the back, really. And what I love about the Tombow glue is it gives you what I call wriggle room.
So you can move it around.
So it's in the space that you want. So that's the first
And
one.
I really love the way it seems quite simple, you know, sort of, so any sort of, whether you're sort of a crafter or maybe even new.
So that's the two. And
So tell me how you got involved. How did you become a demonstrator?
It all goes down to my friend Jenny, who I was at another craft fair with her because I knew her through doing various craft fairs beforehand, and it was a particularly quiet craft fair and we were stood behind our tables, and she was like, oh look, this is what I've just started, would you like to have a look at this book? So she handed me a Stampin' Up catalogue, and that was it. I was a customer for about 1.5 years before I decided to bite the bullet really, and I thought I might as well join up and get my discount for starters, and then, you know, if I could develop it into a business then I could. So
that's fantastic.
That was good. Right, I'm just cutting, this is the old olive, I'm cutting it at 0.5 centimetre or near it about, so I'm going to do it up to the edge of this line here. Right. As opposed to putting the card here, because you have less of this barrier.
So you're making the kind of grass verge now, are you?
I'm going to make the stems first.
Okay.
Do a couple of those. Doesn't matter if they're not the same size, these are just do. So there's the stems, and while I've got the stems are really easy to make, but the leaves you can just do freehand, and I've just done these by starting with a curve. Right. And going to a point, and then you've got leaves here. So I'll just cut several of these out.
So if you're crafting with kids, probably best that mum does the cutting.
Yes, or use use child-friendly scissors. So there's those. Okay.
We've got sort of our components.
We've got our components here. So what we need to do is pop a little bit of glue here on each one and put the stem on the back of each flower. Right.
They look so effective already, Lucy. And we're still assembling.
I know. That's the beauty of it. It's just sometimes it's deceptively simple. Sometimes when you're doing punch art, because it looks more complicated than it is. So there's the 3 flowers, and I've left these long so that I can stick them down on here at the right size, and once I've stuck them down I'll cut off the excess. So we have the tallest flower, which I've chosen the darker purple, the elegant eggplant. So what I will do is just put a bit of glue on the back of here. You have to be really sparing with... But
I see what you mean about sort of the, you know, flexibility to sort of move it around a bit.
And one of the best things I've ever bought is the adhesive remover, and so if you get any glue anywhere, it just works like a rubber, and you can rub it away, and any mistakes get
sort of hidden.
And then so I will just stick these kind of on the bottom here this way.
Nice element, isn't it? Sort of to it, sort of that sort of 3D.
And same with the leaves as the stems, if I can pick them up. What I've tended to do is put the glue just on the bottoms so that they will stand out a bit at the top.
Lucy, I can see how you love all things creative. So tell me about being a demonstrator. What's involved?
What I love about being a demonstrator is the fact that you can be anything from a hobby demonstrator that just buys their own products with discount and sells to a few people, friends say, and then you can take it up a level and do workshops, parties and classes, and right up to being a career demonstrator and making a really good business out of it. So I'm on the slightly more hobby side of it compared to perhaps a full-time career, but I'm getting there.
Right, so that's great. So it sounds sort of very interactive and a lot of fun too.
Oh, it is. It's great fun, and you meet so many lovely people, and it's really nice when people use the products and get really good confidence in themselves and their crafting. It's really nice.
That's fantastic. So, so how are we coming along?
We're coming along okay. I'll just put a bit of glue on this one. I think that's probably plenty of leaves. There. And then I will trim the edges off here. And that's a bit neater. And then we get to play with the fringe scissors, which are they're one of my favourite toys at the moment. I'm going to make the glass. So I cut. The trick is to not cut too near here and not cut right to the end, because then it will it won't cut properly. So I just cut along. So obviously I've got carried away, I don't need to have quite that many.
Right, okay.
And then I will, might have been easier if I just cut a strip, because I can trim the edge and I don't need it. Obviously this is far too long for here, but I will just cut this, and you leave a little edge here so they don't all fall apart, and then work out roughly how long it is. And then I need to make the grass a bit shorter, so I will just do that. And then to make it look a bit more lifelike, I've just gone in and cut a few bits at an angle, and you can rough it up and curl it and then glue it down. So you can either use the sticky strip or just put this glue here. Just move that bit out of the way. Stick that down like that, and hopefully not stick it to the table. And then again, I'll just trim it here. Just need our ribbon to make it pretty. You've always got to have a bit of ribbon.
Shall I check how our bag's coming along?
Yes. I find this now.
Just let me know if you need to be a helper with the chocolate.
Oh yes, well I think you might need to do a quality control test to make sure the goodies are good enough for whoever we're giving it to.
I'll save that for later.
And then I'm just using this snail on the back, about ½ centimetre up, because I will be folding this around and sticking it like that. Trim off the excess, and then I will just tuck this bow in here. I've got glue on my fingers so the ribbon is sticking a bit, but that's fine. And then just do a knot.
And that's just so lovely, that ribbon.
Yes, it's the stitched grosgrain ribbon, and this is the Daffodil Delight. I was going to say flavour, but I mean colour. So you're talking about chocolate.
It almost looks good enough to eat, actually.
It does. There we go, and then...
It's such a happy colour.
It is, it's really bright. And then we'll use the same ribbon to tie. I think you should, I think you should.
I'm going to so I'm just going to take a selection of these goodies here. I'm going to really try to not get too carried away.
Yeah, you don't want the bag to be too full.
Yeah, one for me, one for bag.
Two for you, one for the bag.
Oh, there we go, there we go.
There we go.
Is that enough?
Yeah, that should be fine, and I'll give you a bit of ribbon in a second. In fact, we can... And then tie the bow. I'll see whose bow's better. It'll be yours.
No, it's going to be yours, I think.
There we go. And I find with bows is to get the ears, as I call them, even, is just put your thumbs in and then pull, and then there we go.
Fabulous. So
oh, I need to chop that bit off.
That bit.
There, lovely. And then pop that in there like that. So if you find it doesn't fit, you can trim the top off a bit like that. And then hopefully, you might need to squidge it about a bit, but hopefully it will fit in there and stand up. And there you go.
That looks fabulous. Well done, how exciting. So Lucy, you have another project that you're going to show us.
It's this little egg holder. I've put Happy Easter on this one, but you could just put a name on it and have an individual one for each person on a table setting perhaps, or they'd make great gifts for kids to give their teacher or to give to their friends. And I've started with a 20 centimetre by 4 centimetre piece of soft sky, and I've scored it at 8 centimetres in from each end and punched the end with the Scalloped Tag Topper Punch like I did on the previous project.
Right. So it's really sort of same sort of mechanism, really.
And if you want the inches version, it's 7 14/16 by 1 inch and 9/16, which now you know why I've done it in centimetres, and score at 3 1/8 from each end.
Okay.
So you go from your strip to this, then you take a 6 centimetre square of the soft sky and score it at 1 centimetre in from each side, and I've trimmed or cut into the flaps here and cut a little tiny wedge out, so that when you glue it together you'd put glue on each of these 4 corners, stick it together like that, and punch with a 3/4 inch circle punch hole, obviously more central than this one, like I've done here. And then I've got a bit of sticky strip on each side. I've stuck this one down, and then I'll use my very useful paper piercing tool, or pricky tool as I call it, because I can never remember the proper name. And I've got 3 stamping dimensionals here. I'm just going to take the sticky top off and then stick that like that, and then the egg which Paula hasn't eaten yet.
I have been
the one last
at it,
one, no, I'm kidding. And you pop that in there, and then I'll use a pricking tool.
I can see how much you love to make all things creative. Lucy, tell me sort of what have been some of the highlights so far?
Of being a demonstrator?
Yeah.
Oh, I've met so many lovely, amazing people, whether they're demonstrators or my customers, or even people that swear that I can't do that, I'm not crafty, and you at a workshop or a class, you teach them how to make something, they do it, and then they come away really excited and proud that I made this, look, and I'm not crafty, I made this, because Stampin' Up makes it so easy, because there's so many coordinating items, whether it's a stamp that matches a punch, like the Petite Petals with the Petite Petals punch, which I'm going to use for the daffodils in a minute, or the colours, so you can have ribbon that matches the paper, which matches the ink. Stampin' Up does all the work for you, so you don't have to be that creative, unless you are, and that's great. So it's just, and I've made some really good friendships.
Yeah.
So
and we hear that a lot. We hear that a lot from demonstrators. So that's great. So we're almost done.
We're almost done. Yeah. So as you can see, I've made the grass in the same way that I did the grass for this and the stems. This is the gumball green, because I thought it needed a brighter colour, and this is Daffodil Delight, of course, it's daffodil, yeah. And Pumpkin Pie. And what I've done with the Petite Petals punch is I've just punched one out, and I've taken this flower punch from the Itty Bitty Punch Pack. That's the centre for the trumpet of the daffodil. I have to catch it when it pings. I've punched pressed it against my hand here, and then I've just made a little fold in each of the petals, just down from the point, and then I will stick that on there with a little dot of Tombow glue, and then I'll put a glue dot on the back to stick it on. And in true, if I'm allowed to say it, Blue Peter style is am I prepared earlier. I've always wanted to say that anyway. And then I will stick, because these have got the glue dots on the back, stick the daffodils on and peel it off.
So effective, isn't it?
And there you have it, a chocolate little mini Easter egg.
Well, you have truly inspired me, Lucy. Now I know that you've got a few other little sort of projects. You're just going to show us those. It's kind of sort of moving into sort of some home decor.
And so I've made what could be a scrapbook page, or I've put it in a box frame. Just done exact same technique as these. Made that with some stamping and a not very good photograph of mine of a crocus. Obviously you could do it on a 12 by 12 sheet and get more photographs on. I've sort of made it into a home decor piece. And then as snowdrops are my favourite flowers, I've just made some wall art using the same punches as these, but just the other way up. Yeah. And then I've used the modern label punch, I think it is, to do the centre bit, and just done a squiggle with the gumball green right marker on there. The last little project I made, again using the different punches to make an Easter bunny, and it's got treats inside in a bag that's stamped the same as the other bags, and then tied off with this lovely organza ribbon.
I just love Lucy's Easter treat ideas. They're fun and they're easy to make. So Lucy, thanks so much for sharing them with us. And I know I love receiving handmade gifts. So if you're interested to make Easter gifts, or you would like more information about our products, or becoming a demonstrator, then you can contact your local demonstrator, or if you don't have one, then you can visit our demonstrator finder on our website or visit our online shop. So thanks for watching. Bye-bye.
Bye.